Here is George Square, laid in 1781, and the site of my ruin event. The square is named after King George III, who was then diagnosed with madness, and then the council then decided not to erect a statue of him. The square has been the site of celebrations, relaxation, rallies and remembrance. It's also had its political protest, notably the 1919 Black Friday that saw tanks in a protest over conditions, and many rallies on Scottish independence. The square has always been thought of by the citizens of Glasgow as a green and aesthetically pleasing place, but this changed when the council removed much of the green space. This is an earlier picture of George Square, and in this picture coming up we see it in the 1970s. The council moved the green space to allow commercial activities, and plans to regenerate it further met fierce opposition, particularly when the plan to remove the city statues was part of this. 12 statues in the square, 11 men and 1 woman, circle it. Despite the outcry, most can't name the statues and really engage with them. Citizens were however angry at ruining both the green aesthetic space and the history. This is Thomas Graham, famous for his work in Graham's Law and dialysis and chemistry, but heavily criticised for turning his back on religion. This is James Oswald, a politician lauded for his work in workers' reform, but a merchant who had slaves in India. This is the poet Thomas Campbell, former rector at Glasgow University and a champion of sentimental war poetry. This is Field Marshal Lord Clyde, who defended the Red Line at Balaclava, but also put down a slave rebellion in Barbados. This is Sir John Muir, who was influential in the wars against France and Spain, but also was responsible for quelling an Irish rebellion. This is William Gladstone, 4 times Prime Minister and passionate about social reform. He was also rector of Glasgow University. Yet, he had 21,500 slaves sold for his father. This is Robert Burns, Scotland's national poet and the man who gave to the world Auld Lang Syne. Today, though, women might not be as impressed, as he was a known womaniser, carried STDs, was a drunk and a cheat. This is James Watt, inventor of the steam engine and also had a unit of electrical power named after him. He did, however, use his patent to smash competition, and he was not known well for his manner. This is Prince Albert, the Queen's husband, and largely influential in social welfare and industry. He was, however, criticised for his toxic relationship with his closest and eldest son. This is Queen Victoria, up until recently our longest reigning monarch, much elogised in documentaries. In private she had rages and had a network of spies on her children. This is Walter Scott, one of Scotland's most famous authors, and credited with the invention of the historical novel. Now criticised, however, for romanticising Scotland and creating the tart and shortbread image of it that pervades the world. Glasgow has a history of taking the statues and claiming them for themselves. Here, the statue of Wellington outside the Modern Museum of Art. Yet the statues in George Square remain largely anonymous and rarely visited by the residents. In fact, people who work in the city tend to pass through the space in George Square as a space rather than a place. In fact, people seem to pay more attention to the performance statues in the nearby streets, this one here, a mock-up of the Wellington statue we saw earlier, than the actual statues in George Square. What is it about the performativity here that seems to bring the statues alive, while the actual statues in George Square remain in anonymity? It seems to me that in commercialising this space, the City Council have ruined the relationship between it and its citizens. In my proposal, I plan to look at how the square has become a space of ruined globalisation. I look in particular at the role of the statues and propose an event that will ruin their anonymity once again, bringing history to a present moment in time and posing questions about the future use and identity of this important social space.